afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the center of the universe, which is Terriffill, Connecticut. Thank you. All right, 06081. As you can see, we are a proud community and proud of our most precious resource, which is the Farmington River, which we've all worked so hard to protect and preserve over the years. And I'm delighted to be joined by state, federal, and local officials. We're all joined here together to fight for the Wild and Scenic River designation. And luckily, we have some wonderful champions in Congress who are leading the charge to help us with this designation, to help us preserve this treasure for generations to come. So I wanted to welcome you all here and introduce Senator Chris Murphy, who will say a few words. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Well, thank you very much for the welcome, John. Thank you for your service to the town of Simsbury. Let me do some very brief introductions of the folks who will not be giving formal remarks, but we are very glad to have with us a cross-section of representatives from the communities that are going to benefit from the designation of the lower Farmington River and Salmon Brook as a wild and scenic river. So I will list them off and then we can give them applause at the end of the list. But we have from Bloomfield, our great mayor, Sid Schulman, Canton's first selectman, Dick Barlow, Shannon Knoll from the Simsbury city government, John Hampton, of course, state representative, Mike D'Amico, state representative from Farmington, Kevin Whitkos, who you all know, the state senator from the Farmington Valley, and of course, to give remarks later, our Commissioner Dan Esty. Give them all a round of applause. The real round of applause, though, should go to the amazing study committee, which has done great work over the past several years to give Senator Blumenthal, myself, and Representative Esty the tools with which to make this case. So to Eileen, Candace, Wanda, Kevin, Paula, Walt, and Joyce, we are indebted to the work that you did to present us with an unassailable case as to both the ecological and economic power of this section of the Farmington River. And I want everybody to give the study committee a big round of applause for the work that they've done. We are here today to announce that we will be introducing in Congress a bill to designate the lower Farmington River and Salmon Brook as a wild and scenic river. This is an incredibly important project for this section of our state. First, let's talk about what this section of the river is all about. First of all, there's over 120,000 people every year who enjoy the Farmington River, whether it be rafting or boating or fishing or kayaking. The river is an economic generator for the region, and we're frankly sitting in a section of the river which has potential to give rebirth to this neighborhood of Terriffill. Already there's a lot of races that happen on this stretch of the river, but with some additional federal recognition and resources, a whole small community could be reborn. But in addition to the economic potential of this river, it also has enormous natural bounty. This is one of the cleanest rivers in all of New England, despite being so close to development and downtowns. And it obviously has enormous fishing potential, but also current capacity for the area's fishermen. It has 12 different species of freshwater mussels that you can find up and down this river, a rarity amongst Connecticut's riverways. It has 100 different prehistoric archaeological sites all up and down the river. And so there are just very few stretches of river anywhere in the country where you are going to find at one time the natural beauty that we're looking at, the economic runoff to the community, and the natural and man-made history within miles of the river's reach. This river screams out to be designated as a wild and scenic river. we can do this because we've done it before. We all got together and were able to get wild and scenic designation for the upper Farmington River, and the same people who made that possible are going to be able to make this designation possible as well. I want to say this has been from the very start a bipartisan effort. We have Republicans and Democrats standing here today, but even in Washington, this has been a bipartisan endeavor. Nancy Johnson, my predecessor, was one of the driving forces behind the designation of the upper Farmington and started the process of beginning the study committee for the lower Farmington. And so we are going to make sure that this is a bipartisan endeavor in Washington as well going forward. Senator Blumenthal and Representative Esty and I are going to go out and find Republican partners to work with who have benefited from the wild and scenic river designation in their states and in their districts, and ask for their help on this stretch of the river as well. What will it mean? Well, first of all, the designation is a marketing tool for this stretch of the Farmington River and Salmon Brook, but it also has practical implications as well in terms of dollars and cents. Every stretch of wild and scenic river designation becomes eligible for up to $100,000 in funding from the federal government, as well as enormous technical assistance to try to maintain the character of the river and to work on projects like bank and soil erosion. And so this designation not only will be a marketing tool for Connecticut and for the region, but it will also mean that there could be some significant dollars arriving here to help us at a moment where, as Commissioner Esty can tell you, dollars are hard to come by when communities are trying to do work along our rivers. So we're going to, Senator Blumenthal and I, as I'm sure he will say, are going to be asking for a very quick committee approval for this piece of legislation, hoping to get it to the Senate floor as soon as we can. Representative Esty will be doing the same. And knowing that the last time we were here it was raining, this time it's here, we're raining, I am sure that when we come back to announce the passage of the Wild and Scenic River Designation Act for the lower Farmington and Salmon Brook, it will be raining again, and we will be very happy about it. With that, let me introduce a champion of this river, my partner in Washington, the senior senator from Connecticut, Dick Blumenthal.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you to Chris Murphy for his leadership on this issue, which preceded me as a U.S. Senator. He was here, as we were last time, with Senator Joe Lieberman, and he has been leading this effort. But more important than any of the officials standing here have been the activists, the community activists, you on the study committee, the folks who fought, and we're going to need you to continue to fight. Because at the end of the day, environmental battles are won not in Washington, but literally at the grassroots, on the rivers, in the communities, which is where we are going to win this fight to designate the Farmington River and the Salmon Brook as a wild and scenic river. You know, to everyone who doubts the importance of government and public action and the power to get things done, the Wild and Scenic Rivers System, which was established in 1968, has been one of the great American success stories. It has preserved and protected rivers just like this one against the threats of development and pollution and contamination. And here's an example of ecology and environment and economics all coming together in a perfect marriage. But even more important, there's a moral imperative here. There is a moral obligation to preserve this river, not just for ourselves and the immediate economic benefit or the enjoyment we will have from it, but for our children and our grandchildren. Every generation makes a compact that it will leave this country better than we found it. And shame on us if we fail to keep that compact and fail to designate this river as one of the great gems in the Wild and Scenic River System. We've done it in the Upper Farmington. We can do it again for the Lower Farmington. Let me just say, finally, Chris Murphy is right. This movement is bipartisan, and community-driven. It is driven by activists and communities, and it is completely bipartisan. John Larson couldn't be here today, but he's represented by John Rossi, and we are united as a delegation, and we are united as a state, Republicans and Democrats alike, in this effort. We have much more in common on these kinds of issues than we have in conflict. We are going to be rowing in the same direction, and it will not be upstream. And I am very proud to introduce now someone who has already hit the ground running in Washington and become a leader, an environmental leader, Congresswoman Esty.
Thank you so much, Senator Blumenthal and Senator Murphy, and I am so honored to be here today with this wonderful bipartisan group, and welcome to my husband as well. We rarely see each other, so we take advantage when we can. And today, if you can hear the roar of the river, you can understand the passion we feel when we talk to our colleagues, particularly from the West, who may think, what is a wild and scenic river in Connecticut? Folks, we hear it here today, and I hope the cameras show a little bit of this fast water and understand that this is a fisherman and fisherwoman's paradise. This has been part of the economic engine of this community for not decades, but centuries. And this has the power to not only generate power, which some of us are working on, but to have a rebirth of this area with scenic enjoyment, recreation, and bringing young people out onto the river. I see some of my friends here from Trout Unlimited, some of the environmental community, our bikers, our fisher people, environmental activists. And as we have all said, it is because of you that we are here today. And what is great about this program is that it supports states and it supports local communities in doing the right thing, in preserving the environment, being an engine for economic development, and treasuring what we already treasure, but hopefully with the little dollars from the federal government behind that with technical assistance to allow us to continue to support these efforts, support the local communities that have been the driving force behind this. And I'm proud of my colleagues, proud to stand here today. We are looking forward to making the persuasive case in the House of Representatives and the Senate to pursue the work that you have started, that the study committee and others have started, and to get equity for the lower Farmington with the upper Farmington. Thank you very much, and it's my honor to introduce John Rossi on behalf of our colleague John Larson. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Senators Murphy and Blumenthal and Congresswoman Esty. Hi, John Rossi, representing Congressman John Larson. Wanted to thank everybody involved in the study committee, again, all of the activists that have been involved, and also on behalf of the 1st Congressional District towns that the Farmington River runs through. All of the issues through this process. This has been a really involved process at all levels, and we're very thankful for that. I have a brief letter here from the congressman. He was here last time we were here, and he couldn't make it today. He wanted me to read it real briefly to talk about his commitment to this project. Dear friends, the Farmington River and the Salmon Brook are truly special natural resources significant to the nation and the state of Connecticut for their scenic, recreational, cultural, and ecological value. In an area of the country that is densely populated as our state, we are fortunate to have access to such a wonderful place to enjoy the natural environment. It is our obligation to preserve and protect a treasure like this for future generations. That is why I am proud to be a co-sponsor of the Lower Farmington River and Salmon Brook Wild and Scenic River Act, along with my colleagues. Signed, sincerely, John Larson. Thank you very much. Take care.
And to back cleanup, my neighbor, Commissioner Dan Esty. Thank you for being here, Dan.
Thank you, Senator Murphy, Senator Blumenthal, Congresswoman Esty, and all who are gathered here today on what is a truly beautiful day. For those who had their umbrellas up, I know it was just a signal to the fishermen that it's a great day to be out on the water. And it really is. I have to say that my fondest memories as commissioner include a day with Kevin Whitgos canoeing on this river a little further up. A day fly fishing out here, catching some of the most beautiful trout you'll find anywhere. And for those who don't know, this is one of the finest trout rivers east of the Mississippi River. It really is a spectacular place and therefore very much deserving of the wild and scenic designation that our congressional delegation has advanced this week and will be seeking over the coming weeks. It is an extraordinary resource for the state. You've heard of all of the elements of bringing together ecological protection, outdoor recreation, economic growth in this project. And I simply want to say, from the point of view of the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, we endorse that and celebrate today not only the beautiful weather, but the partnership involved, both to get us to this day, an extraordinary partnership of government and non-governmental organizations, particularly those who are on the study group, of those who celebrate the resources of the river, Trout Unlimited, and many, many others. To Eileen Fielding and her efforts over many, many years, thank you. We're pleased that you're being recognized and honored by others for the work that's gone on here over now many. But the Farmington River Watershed Association has been at this for decades as well. And these things don't come fast, but they are big and they are important, and that we celebrate today. So I do want to thank you all for being here. Thank those who are part of this partnership, Democrats and Republicans alike, local government as well as state and federal government. Thank you for the partnership, because it does take all of us pulling together to get something like this done. And I am excited, and will be gauging the prospects for progress on this, if not daily, at least weekly, across the dinner table. So thank you all very much. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, let's do it weekly, okay? Maybe not daily. We'd be happy to take any questions that people may have from the press. If not, all right, great. Well, again, thank you. This is, we have done a couple events here surrounding this designation, and every single time we get such a great crowd. We've obviously had a lot of things to celebrate because we've been moving this process along. And again, we hope to be here to have another big celebration sometime very soon. So to all of my colleagues and all of our guests, thank you, and hopefully stick around and enjoy the river for a little bit. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.